Good morning and welcome to our next in the world of business. From the forex market, we'll look at the stock market. The Nigerian stock market is recovering from the holiday, the Workers' Day. We'll also look at events unfolding from the US regarding the debt ceiling. Let's begin from there. US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has warned that the US may run out of cash by 1st June if Congress fails to raise or suspend the debt ceiling. Reaching the debt ceiling would mean that the government is unable to borrow any more money. On Monday, Ms. Yellen urged Congress to act as soon as possible to address the $31.4 trillion limit. President Joe Biden has called a meeting of congressional leaders on the issue on 9th May. The debt ceiling has been raised, extended, or revised 78 times since 1960. Looking at China. China began drilling the oil and gas well Yejin 33 on May 1, 2023 in the country's northwest autonomous region. Designed to be Asia's by the energy and chemical giant Sinopec, which has already built 120 wells at depths of over 8,000 meters across.
阶段，但深部地层仍然埋藏着十分丰富的油气资源，深层超深层领域的油气资源达670亿吨油当量，已经成为油气资源勘探的主战点。
About the events unfolding in China, and China looks forward to become one of the biggest. It's the second biggest economy right now to become the biggest economy in the world. To African perspective, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has warned that Nigeria and other countries in sub-Saharan Africa could lose $10 billion of foreign direct investment (FDI) should geopolitical tensions lead to isolated trading blocs. There have been trading tensions between the United States, European Union, and Russia over the latter's decision to invade Ukraine. Also, China and the United States have been in trade wars, which has contributed to an increase in the prices of goods globally. According to the IMF, the tensions among these countries could result in the world splitting into two isolated trading blocs centered around China, or the United States and the European Union. The IMF said if such a split occurs, sub-Saharan African economies could permanently extend 1.3 trillion naira in credit to private sector players during the first quarter of 2023, bringing the total to 43 trillion. The 1.3 trillion naira credit to the private sector in the first quarter of 2023 showed a slight increase compared to the 1.28 trillion naira extended in the previous period in 2022. CBN trillion naira in February and further increased to 43 trillion naira in March. According to reports, the CBN has been making significant efforts to ensure more loans are given to the private sector. Sounds like good news from Nigerian point of view and businesses, the private sector. Meanwhile, the Securities and Exchange Commission issued on Monday in Abuja. The commission said the platforms had not been registered and described their financial services as unauthorized. It listed the companies to include 24, Evolve Consulting LLC, and Trust Fund Mining Global Limited. Moving to the 2023 financial year report for the first quarter of the year. Wema Bank PLC has said it recorded 39.35 billion from 29.14 billion naira recorded in the corresponding period of 2022. It disclosed this in a statement on its unaudited results for the first quarter ended March 30, 2023. The bank recorded a profit before tax of 6.21 billion naira, a year-on-year increase of 88.18% over the 3.3 billion naira reported from 2.86 billion naira in the first quarter of 2022. Many companies are making lots of profits amid the economic concerns around the world. It would be a good time to go to global economy to see the outlines in global data from Europe, Africa, Asia, and the rest. Economic calendar has shown some improvement in data and decline for some countries, beginning with India. Inflation rate year-on-year for April came out at 4.33%. Previous standing was 4.9%. The focus was at 4%. Highlighted by 5:30 a.m. in Australia, the Reserve Bank of Australia came out with interest rate decision at 3.85%, the cost of borrowing. Previously, the cost of borrowing stood at 3.6%. What the outcome would be in the data. By 10 a.m. in the morning today, inflation rate year-on-year according to preliminary estimates came out for Italy at 8.3%. Previous standing was 7.6%. To see what the outline is around 3 p.m. economic data. Expected data would be the JOLTS job opening for March in the US. While many investors and economists are looking forward to what the job perspective in US would be like and how this can affect a service-oriented economy, the impact of interest rates on growth has evolved. Let's find out more from Blueprint.
Over the last 6 or 7 decades. Many economic models are outdated and no longer work. Let's compare. The U.S. economy was driven by manufacturing and a housing market dependent on 30-year fixed-rate mortgages. Higher interest rates squeeze savings. Fast forward to today's service sector economy with a high concentration of mega-sized technology firms. High interest rates still hurt the housing sector, but not as much as mission process has shifted to the equity market. High interest rates cause a revaluation of equities, especially...
That was ideals from Blueprint, chief economist of CME Group, regarding the U.S. economy. The Netherlands' annual inflation rate increased to 5.2% in April 2023 from a 17-month low of 4.4% and 6%. On the other hand, prices increased at a slower pace for both non-energy industrial goods and food. Beverages in Netherlands. Inflation rate in Netherlands. Over time in Netherlands, inflation had stood at 8.8%, and further going up as of July 2022 to 10.3%. In 2022 of 14.5%, and at October 2022 14.3%, quite high for that economy, before beginning to slow down to 9.9%, and as of January 2023, inflation in Netherlands had dropped to 7.6% and further dropped to 4.4% as at March, but went slightly upward to 5.2%, indicating a slight increase in markets. Beginning with the the metal market, and afterwards we'll get to look at a roaring stats to 2023, except for palladium. Gold has been up 9% for this industrial staple. Let's find out more from Bob Icino regarding the impact of trading.
May have over 9%. Platinum is up almost 6%. Silver over 4.5%. But palladium is at converters for gas-powered vehicles. Demand for electric vehicles and a general Ukraine conflict could also be impacting palladium prices, as automakers in the West are being used as money. These are just a few potential reasons why palladium is not as strong as other precious metals, but...
Quite an outlook from the metal market. Let's move to the metal market to see what the outline is in the metal market amid the concerns with the price of palladium, which is current price $1,981 per ounce, dropping slightly by 0.8 points. Silver also dropping slightly, but the metal market is a little here, a little there. For lithium, which is used in making 500 Chinese yuan per ton. This data raises demand concerns. Dan Deming will give us an outline.
Now, what is interesting about today's price action is it would be considered an inside day today. And looking at the driving factors today, it appears that one of the primary drivers was the release of the economic. I think that impacted the expectations for global demand, at least from a short-term perspective. And I think that's one of the primary drivers as to why we did see some selling pressure early in the session.
That is the outlook from Dan Deming. Let's move to the market then, the energy market, to see what the outlines is regarding West Texas Intermediary crude oil, the U.S. crude, and activity and positivity but slight, but the volatility of the market has been so low. Crude oil price, which is WTI, the US crude, $75 per barrel. For Brent, which is Nigeria's price benchmark, is 79, a little here, a little there, but the volatility of the market has been quite low. While talking about market, it would be a good time to look at that. Will give us outlook in this one. As the talking point says, goodbye La Nina and hello El Nino. Weather patterns are shifting with big along the Pacific Ocean equator, and it vanished last fall. And El Nino, characterized by warmer than normal water temperatures, is forming in its state. What will be the impact of agriculture?
Dramatically. One of the most important weather influences of the past years, known as La Nina, were cooler than normal sea surface temperatures along the Pacific Ocean equator, vanished last fall after a multi-year run. An El Nino warms. The coming El Nino may bring a little more rain to the U.S. Corn Belt, as well as more heat and drier conditions to parts of India and eastern Australia. El Nino may create conditions for possibly more cyclones in the Pacific Ocean, while making for a few less hurricanes in the Atlantic Ocean, yet the ones
Goodbye La Nina, and we welcome El Nino weather conditions. Let's move to the agricultural market. See what I can say amid these concerns from the. But the biggest slump is lumber. Lumber has fallen by negative 3.07 percentage drop, a 10-point decline this morning. Soybeans is upward by 9.5 points, a 0.65 percentage appreciation, while wheat has gained 3.21 points this morning. Current price for soybeans, $1,464 per bushel. Let's look at.
Albeit for a short period of time before moving lower. Recall on Friday we saw the highest settlement in the pound since going back to June of last year. Today we opened up, nudged higher, remaining above that 125 before moving lower, back beneath 125, back into that April amid more banking concerns, which seem to have passed, at least in the short term, helping to prop up the dollar and push down the pound. There was a bank holiday today in the UK, so not a huge amount of flows. We traded in about a 124.80 to 125.80 range, again, settling back below 125. A bit on Friday, and today we didn't see a whole lot of shift, again, because of the bank holiday. But again, next week we are focusing on the Bank of England meeting when they are anticipated to raise another 25 basis point amidst more hikes coming down the road as inflation remains elevated and well above their target.
Welcome, and look at the details from the market and the excitement of this market then, the Forex market. The beauty of the Forex market has been what we have to talk about, the perspective regarding the euro against the US dollar. It's back at the 1.09 point mark, not really moving forward nor downward, but the market has been at this point still struggling after the rally to 1.10 points for the pounds against the US dollar. The US dollar against the Naira at the international market, current price is 459 Naira equaling $1 US. For the euro against the Naira, the euro had fallen slightly against the Naira, but current price 506 Naira equaling €1 at the international for the pound against the Naira. Let's look at this parallel market and the perspective in the parallel market, the black market. Naira's perspective in this 137 Naira equaling $1 at the selling rate. For the pounds to the Naira is 930 Naira to £1 and 915 Naira to £1 at the selling rate. The euro to the Naira 800. The cryptocurrency market has shown huge gain this morning for Bitcoin after falling to 27,300 mark. Bitcoin has gone 384 points this morning. Current price for Bitcoin $28,000 US for one Bitcoin. Ether is gaining 27 points, 1,833 US dollar chain for the crypto market. This is where we draw the curtain in today's edition of Business 360. My name is Blyden Kim. Thank you for being a part of it.